Let's talk about an actual real spring camp depth chart.
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Holkin, and thank you for making a Locked On USC, part of the Locked On Network, your team every day, your first listen every day. Whether you're watching the show on YouTube or wherever you are going to download your podcast, never forget the show is free, and always remember how much I appreciate your support. This episode is brought to you by Nissan. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada, and go find your next big adventure. Check them all out today at nissanusa.com. The other day, I received what I consider to be information gold. We're about a week away from spring camp opening up. Not a lot of information going on right now. The team is on spring break. The men's basketball team getting ready in Vegas. The women waiting for their number one seed. So I get this message. It's a Snapchat picture. That's how I'm going to describe it. It's not really what it was, but I was able to catch a sneak peek of what the winter conditioning pecking order looks like. I guess we'll call it, everyone's putting together their own depth chart and kind of projecting what's going to happen. Well, like I said, I got a sneak peek. I saw the wall inside the McKay Center. So we'll call it a penciled in idea of what the repetition drill lines could look like when spring camp opens up March 19th. Let's save the date. I'm going to go ahead and do the offensive snapshot first, and then in the second segment, I'll do the defensive side of the ball. And I think you might be surprised by a couple of positions and who is slotted where. I found a couple of these things kind of like oh, that was interesting. And again, write this down in pencil, because this thing is going to change. But again, this is what the staff is thinking, at least right now. The quarterback position was easy. I didn't even need to look at the wall shingles. But it's Miller Moss, Jaden Mayava, Jake Jensen, and you got Gage Roy. And I got to be honest, I don't think this depth chart is going to change too much anytime soon. I mean, if we're being honest here, Miller Moss knows the offense, and Jaden Mayava right now, he's still trying to earn his first gold plates to put on the side of his helmet. The running backs, Joquavius Marks, Woody, Quentin Joyner, Marion Peterson, Brian Jackson, in that order. So you've got experience, a couple of returning freshmen, or we'll call them true sophomores, and then you've got the true incoming freshman, Brian Jackson. Are you surprised that the Mississippi State transfer is ahead of the two returners? Probably shouldn't be. Look, Lincoln Riley knows what he needed. He needed a veteran presence back there. USC's new running back coach, Anthony Jones, he knows what he's getting in Marks. Bottom line, among these four running backs, the one who pass protects the best will be playing a lot. They'll be seeing the most playing time. Travis Dice said it right. No blocky, no rocky. I'm going to save the offensive line for the last group. It's my favorite group on this side of the ball, and I want to build up a little anticipation here. So the tight end room, this also caught my attention. I'm sure some of you, a lot of you, have seen that hype video that USC put out where the team's getting ready to do their Coliseum stair climb session. Did you notice that Carson Tabarachi? It looks like he's becoming a team leader. And I've actually heard some good things from a few folks about his approach during this offseason, how he's doing things. They use that coach speak line, he does things the right way. When you're a player, that's about the highest praise a coach can give you. And it might be why his name was at the top of the depth chart. So in order, you had Carson, you had Joey Olson, Cameron Woods, who, by the way, I know his family listens to the show, so a quick shout out, fight on. Cameron's moving on up. Then you had Kate Eldridge, Walker Lyons, and Walter Matthews. The reason you did not hear Lake McRee's name, I don't think he's been medically cleared yet officially. They have him listed. His wall shingle says day to day. So that's where we're at with Lake McRee and with the tight end group so far. That is your tentative depth chart. Next up, how about the wide receivers? Yeah, these are their current spots. This is how they're listed on the wall. At the X outside wide receiver position, you've got Kyron Ware-Hudson, Deuce Robinson, Jaden Moore. At the H inside, you have Mekhi Lemon. At the Y inside slot, you've got Zachariah Branch. I think those two positions right there highlight perfectly why USC's wide receiver numbers are low. They need more. And I'm not done yet. I'm going to go. But so you have one player at the H, Mekhi. You've got one player at the Y, Zachariah. We know Zachariah's splitting some of his time running track this spring. So backing those two positions up, you have Josiah Zamora and Corey Norris. Both are preferred walk-ons. And then you have your other outside Z formation wide receiver, Jacoby Lane, Jaden Richardson, Xavier Jordan. Now, I would imagine that Jordan will cross-train at one or both of those inside slot positions. USC's low on numbers. And I think he's got the speed and the route running ability to step inside and create that type of mismatch. All right, here we go. I've been telling you that Jonah Monheim has been getting reps at the center spot this offseason, so you shouldn't be surprised. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the line: left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, right tackle, and I'm just going to list how they have what the McKay Center wall shingles say. At left tackle, Elijah Page, and then Justin Ta'uanu. I apologize if I butchered it. I'm doing my best. I'm getting there. The true freshman, the young man who they flipped from Stanford. So you got two guys right now on your depth chart at left tackle. One is a true sophomore. The other is a true freshman. I feel really, really, really strongly, you know the whole rule here, 3 times for emphasis, that when that spring transfer portal window opens, a veteran offensive tackle is definitely going to be targeted. At left guard, in order, Emmanuel Prignon, Amos Talalele, and Jack Susner. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Susnjar. I apologize. One of those letters has to be silent. At center, the aforementioned Jonah Monheim, Killian O'Connor, and then Jason Zandamila. Okay. Been a lot of talk. Hey, would Lincoln Riley consider, putting Killian O'Connor there? Well, yeah, he played last year. I think he's probably a candidate to get, one of those preferred walk-ons that might get rewarded with a scholarship. Just saying. At right guard, you've got Alani Noah. You've got Cooper Lovelace, and then you've got Kalen Miller. So Alani Noah saw some action last year. Lincoln Riley talked about what he dealt with and how he was able to fight through the adversity, the stuff that you don't really hear and see about, the personal family issues that were going on in the freshman's life last year while he was trying to make the adjustment to college. And he did really well with all things considered. So right now, starting at right guard, Alani Noah, backing him up, Cooper Lovelace, and then you've got Kalen Miller. The thing about Cooper is he could be that versatile guy that can play guard or tackle. I think he's going to stay on the right side wherever they end up putting him. And then at right tackle, Mason Murphy, Tobias Raymond, and then Kololo Kahia Ta'aga. I'm reading the wall shingle, and they don't even have Ta'aga. It's Kololo Kahia, Kaihea. I had to put 2 and 2 together, 1 and 1 together to come up with, oh, that's Kololo Ta'aga. So there you go. That is your offensive line. That's the depth chart as it is right now. Guys who aren't here at USC yet, or possibly, I don't know, dealing with some, medical things, rehabbing an injury here or there. So you didn't hear me mention Hayden Trader's name, Makai Saina, Micah Benuelos, and Gina Quinones. We know that Micah Benuelos enrolled last year. We know Gino Quinones is rehabbing a knee injury. It doesn't take a lot to put why Micah Benuelos' name wasn't mentioned on the depth chart. Wink, wink. And then again, you've got the two freshmen who haven't even enrolled yet in Hayden Trader and Makai. So what are your takeaways? Do you agree? Do you disagree with what they're doing right now? If things change, I'll keep you updated. Like I said, I got this. I was like, oh man, I love this. I was salivating when I read this. Remember, this is not my depth chart. This is what Coach Riley and the guys and his staff are forecasting. And for all I know, again, is this a depth chart? I'm thinking when we're at the spring camp practice, this is probably going to be, how the guys line up when they're going through their position group drills. Again, if we're going to use this as the depth chart, and the way I was reading it, you got a pencil like this, use it. Put away the pen. Hey, you like what you're hearing here? Like the show? I know you do. My everydayers, you come back every day. For all of you new guys, become a subscriber. It's quick, it's easy, it's free. If you're watching on YouTube, just click that subscribe button. When you see that thumbs up, I need to smash it. Like, pretend you're the Hulk. And I don't want you to miss one episode. Click that bell notification, and that way you're locked in. You will not miss one episode of Locked on USC. We come at you 5 times a week. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things to the edge? Ever wonder if there's a new adventure right around the next corner? Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your next adventure to the next level. Take the 2024 Nissan Rogue. It is the perfect car crossover for city drives and great escapes. They have the class exclusive Google built in, and it is your always updating assistant that you call on for almost anything. Gone are the days of connecting your phone. Google Assistant, Google Maps, and the Google Play Store are built right in to the 12.3-inch high-definition touchscreen infotainment system. The 2024 Rogue is the perfect mid-size crossover for your next adventure. Need something a little bit bigger? Check out the 2024 Nissan Pathfinder. It has room for up to 8. It has an expansive cargo capacity, and it also has an advanced 4x4 capability if you need that availability. It also comes equipped with 284 horsepower, and you can tow up to 6,000 pounds. That's 3 tons. So when adventure calls, the Pathfinder is there to answer. Take the Nissan Rogue, the Nissan Pathfinder, or the Nissan Armada, and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On Plus, our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. I'm not going to waste any more of your time. I know the defense is priority number 1 for Coach Riley this year. It's priority number 1 for all USC fans. Once that defense is fixed, everything else will take care of itself. Because Lincoln Riley in the offense, he hasn't had an issue with that in his coaching career. So here we go. First thing you're going to notice is that the defensive line does not have an edge rush description anymore. I was using finger quotes. Antonlynn's defensive line formation is 2 defensive ends, a defensive tackle, and a nose tackle. Like I said, the picture I got, I had to do a double take because I I call it the wall shingle. The end wall shingle was one of them was handwritten end. So they didn't have it. They didn't have two of them. At one of the defensive end spots. Are you ready? Here we go. Surprise number one. Solo. Solomon Tuliaupupu. There he is. Behind him, you had Anthony Lucas, Devin Tompkins, David DJ Peavy, Lorenzo Cowan. Look, if Solo can stay healthy, he's going to be a beast. You got Coach Sean Nua, you've got now Coach Eric Henderson in the mix. Solo is the type of guy that you just flip the switch and he's in go mode. The switch doesn't turn off. The only thing that turns off is him staying healthy. My everydayers, you heard me on yesterday's show. I said Anthony Lucas was a look at me now player. Well, he's second on the depth chart behind Solo. Let's move over to the nose tackle position. You've got Isaiah Rakes, Kobe Pepe, Carlon Jones, and then Dejon Lafitte. No surprises here, really. Maybe you can flip-flop Jones and Lafitte, but neither has played at USC yet. So Dejon is 1 year into the system, further along than Carlon Jones. So I guess maybe it's a mild surprise. But again, is this really the depth chart? And does it matter between those two guys who goes first if we're talking about drill groups? Isaiah Rakes, Kobe Pepe. Those are the two guys to keep an eye on during spring camp. At defensive tackle, he's listed as Keithian Alexander. We're going to call him Bear. Behind the Bear, in order, you had Nate Clifton, Elijah Hughes, Jade Abasiri, and then Ratumana Bulabalavu. My only question here is Nate Clifton's experience, does that slide him ahead of Elijah Hughes? Or is it really about Elijah kind of getting used to sliding over inside the season? I think yes is the answer to both of those rhetoricals. I've mentioned on a previous episode of Locked on USC, my everydayers, you'll remember, I felt that I think Elijah Hughes' best position is going to be at defensive tackle. And now he's going to be backing up Bear Alexander. I'm going to wait for Keithian. I'm going to ask permission if I can call him Keithian before I go there. But that's how it's listed on the wall. It's not Bear, it's Keithian. I thought you might find that little anecdote amusing. Let me know. How about the other defensive end spot, formerly known as the edge rush? Jameel Muhammad, Braylon Shelby, Cameron Fountain, Sam Green, Garrett Pomerantz. Jameel took ownership last year. And Shelby, Braylon, he got baptized by fire chasing running backs on wheel routes. So the way the defensive line is described, are we talking now 4 hands in the dirt across the line? 4-3? 4-3 hybrid? I like it. And I like the size. So let's move down to the next level, the linebackers. And this is kind of a situational thing in Antonlynn's defensive scheme. The safety position is used like a linebacker in times. So I'm just going to go across. Strong safety, Kamari Ramsey. Behind him, Traquan Fagans, Zion Branch, Christian Pierce, Jarvis Boatwright Jr., Hunter Dunn. This is going to be a group to really keep an eye on. There's a lot of talent there. I understand why Kamari Ramsey is probably at the top of the list. He's familiar with Lynn's defense. Traquan Fagans had a really nice bowl game. Zion Branch, I think he's still rehabbing his injury. I think Christian Pierce might be a little dinged up as well. Again, We'll find out. This is, again, write it in pencil lightly. Let's move in. Let's keep moving inside. At the Mike middle linebacker position, this is the order it's presented in. Easton Mascarenas Arnold, Eric Gentry, Garrison Madden, Jaden Walker, Elijah Newby. Were you surprised with Easton and Gentry? Or no? You're saying, all right, they belong in the middle. I've kind of, talked out loud. I think that Eric Gentry is such a unique player. You want to have some packages in the middle, because trying to pass over him, those middle intermediate routes, he makes it really challenging. But I also think you want to move him around. You didn't hear Mason Cobb's name in there, did you? Well, let's move over to the weak side linebacker, to the will. Mason Cobb, Rajon Davis, Desmond Stevens, Roman Marchetti, and Matt Galvin. Okay. What do you think? Is this a spring thing, or is Cobb better suited to play outside? I think he's better suited outside, where he can create better tackling angles. Rajon Davis, same thing. He's more, just because of his size, I think he would do better on the outside than trying to navigate the middle. And then again, on the outside, depending on where you slot him. At free safety, you've got, in order, Achille Arnold, Bryson Shaw, Anthony Beavers Jr., Marquise Gallegos, and Brandon Shepard. Achille Arnold, all conference selection, makes sense, right? Bryson Shaw, he's been around. Anthony Beavers, he's been around. And then you got Marquise Gallegos. Brandon Shepard, sounds like a walk-on. Again, the safety positions, I have a feeling, this is the way it's listed right now, you're going to see some cross-training between these groups. Let's start at one side of the field on cornerback. You got DeCarlos Nicholson, Malachi Crawford, Isaiah Rubin. Excuse me. DeCarlos Nicholson, Mississippi State last year. Malachi Crawford, redshirt, dealt with injury. Isaiah Rubin, true freshman. You've got at that nickel safety spot, two guys, Jalen Smith, behind him, Jacoby Covington. Last year, Jalen looked his best at the end of the season. We know what was going on. He also ended up being the bowl game MVP on defense. Jacoby Covington, you've probably seen it once, twice, maybe 10 times, 100 times. I have that highlight video from the Holiday Bowl that caught Jacoby Covington celebrating that with the team in the end zone after Beavers had created that fumble. The team recovered it, and he comes running by. We a team now. We a team now. So there you go. Jacoby Covington. They're going to give him a look there at the nickel spot. The other cornerback spot, John Humphrey, Prophet Brown, and then you have Marcellus Williams and Braylon Conway. Once again, all I saw was a snapshot pick. Okay. And I know it was in the McKay Center. I'm very familiar with the layout. And again, for all I know, this means absolutely nothing. Okay. But I have to say, if the staff went through the effort of putting the names in certain position groups in order, they did it for a reason. And I did find it interesting that there were certain players where they are right now. You saw Solo. Like, whoa, okay. So, by the way, real quickly, here are the special teams before I forget. Kicker, in order, Dennis Lynch, Garth White, Tyler Robles, punter, Eddie Traplisky, Michael McAllister, and then your long snappers, Hank Pepper and Daniel Meunier. I will keep you guys updated. Spring camp 1 week away. I thought you'd find this interesting. I know I did. Let me know what you thought. Hit me up in the comments section. Excuse me. Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers, you're going to get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. You can bet on all of your favorite NBA teams and players at FanDuel. They've got quick bets, they've got live, same game parlays, they've got exclusive prop bets, and a lot more than just that. Just visit FanDuel.com/locked on and shoot your shot. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA. My other job when I'm not here every day on Locked On USC, your team, part of the Locked On Network, I'm over there on wearesc.com. Yep. And take advantage of that $1 subscription special if you want to become a new subscriber. Check it out. One of our VIP subscribers asked our recruiting guru, Scott Schrader, the following question. What letter grades would you give each of the 5 remaining assistant coaches from last year in regards to recruiting? Okay. I loved that question, and I figured, you know what? I'm borrowing it, and I'm going to use it for this segment. So, Knife 85, great question. I'll let Scott answer it over there, but I'm going to answer it over here. We're going to start with Coach Sean Newman. He was the sole survivor, Survivor Island on the defensive side of the ball. I think he's underrated when it comes to recruiting. Let's put it this way. Anthony Lucas, he wouldn't be at USC without Sean Nua. He played a pivotal role in him selecting USC, at least the second time around. Same thing with Jade Abasiri. And, oh, by the way, Cameron Fountain, Coach Sean Nua and Coach Roy Manning, who is no longer with the program, they worked their tails off to get Fountain. And let's take into consideration that, Coach Nua was kind of handicapped by Alex Grinch's scheme. Take all that into consideration. I'm giving Coach Nua a solid B, maybe even a B+. How about Zach Hansen, tight ends coach? Look, no way can I or you or anybody hold him responsible for the lack of tight end production in games. But again, the question is about recruiting. And if we're going by his recruiting prowess, that position group deserves an A. Let's go down the list. And once Lake McRee is healthy, it's a pretty athletic tight end that USC, I think, was trying to implement more and more last year. Again, you can't hold him responsible for the play calls. But when you look at recruiting, Zach deserves an A, without a doubt. Offensive line coach, offensive coordinator, Josh Henson. I know some will question the player's development, but again, to remind everybody, the question was about recruiting. So far in his 2+ years, he's brought in over 10 offensive linemen. Are there any elite 5-star guys in the group? No. But considering what he took over, I think I'm going to give him a B. If I want to be hypercritical, maybe a B- because he hasn't gotten that elite 5-star guy to commit yet. But again, this is the hardest group to really grade out. Another 3-star. Offensive line, you want the guys who are, projected or forecast with NFL talent. Of course you want them. But more times than not, it's the 3-star that develops and becomes a star in the NFL. Luke Schuert's name doesn't come up often with regards to recruiting, but he did help secure Walter Matthews, big tight end prospect out of Hiram, Georgia, 6'5". This dude's going to be a player. And there are other names that he's assisted with recruitment, but I don't think he's what I would call one of the staff's, and I'm using finger quotes, best recruiters. He's more of a behind the scenes, a secondary guy. So look, you call him average when it comes to recruiting. I'll give him a C. The wide receivers are mostly Dennis Simmons. at least according to the On3 recruiting database. I went through it and I was like, all right, Dennis Simmons, Dennis Simmons, Dennis Simmons. Last year's recruiting class alone deserves its own grade. We'd probably give him an AP Class A. In other words, a 5.0. I mean, think about it. In 2023, he was able to secure Zachariah Branch, Deuce Robinson, Jacoby Lane, Mekhi Lemon. Are you serious? If that's not an A-plus class, what is? Those are my grades. You disagree? Agree? Let me know. Hit me up in the comment section. Let's have a discussion. And if you disagree, support your position. Tell me why. I like having adult conversations. All right. That's it for this episode of Locked on USC. I'll be back with another episode tomorrow. That's what we do. And I told you I did a little bit of recruiting. It came to the end of the show. I had to find a twist to put it in there. I will give you an update on what's happening with some visits. And I'll find something else that's coming up. So until that next episode, everyone, you know what to do.